Hello again, I'm Nathan with RatherBeBoardGaming, and I'm about to do a solo playthrough of a cool new game I picked up, Galactic Strike Force. Now I've seen some other videos on it, thought it looked really interesting, and I found it on clearance. So I've got the Galactic Strike Force, there is one expansion for it, I also have it, and the little miniatures pack for this. So let's run through this real quick before I get to the unboxing. I found the miniatures pack on sale on Amazon for about $4, and I had a couple dollars credit from for some reason. Hope that's showing up okay. But anyway, so for about $4, actually I think it ended up being like $2 for me. So that's why I went ahead and got these to finish out the complete set. For $2, you cannot beat these cool looking little miniatures. We'll go over those in a minute. Then the actual game I got at Miniature Market. Okay, this is near the end of August. I'm hoping that'll show up in focus good for the camera. The base game is $12.50. The miniatures is $13 if you buy it from them. If Amazon's out, and then the expansion is $5. And it does say that there's a 20 or more in stock of these. And those prices for the base game and the expansion at Miniature Market are even less expensive than you can find on Amazon that I've seen. Great deal. Great deal. I got all of this for about 20 bucks. Seriously. So I got the full set of the game for about 20 bucks. Let's get into the unboxing. See what all we have. Hoping the glare is not too bad. I will make sure I fix that before we do any playthrough, but let's take a look. The box has a almost like a vinyl feel to it, so it's good quality. It's not paper thin. It feels, yeah, it feels pretty sturdy. So yeah, like that. Instruction manual. I like they call it the training manual since you're flying basically fighter jets or starships. And yeah, looks pretty cool. So that looks good. Here are some tokens, and decent quality there, thickness. So here are some blue tokens, same thickness. They look pretty cool. And then her same tokens, but 5 values. So red and blue. Probably attack and defense, stuff like that. And whoa, here's some zeros up here. And then engaged. So I guess here to show that you're in combat with something. Here are the actual ships that come with the game. If you don't want to fool with the miniatures or you can't find them as cheap as I did, then you have stands, and these work just fine. And they have some cool artwork, and I can use those as guides if I decide to paint them in the future. But I am not very good at painting miniatures, so not sure about that. Plenty of bags, which not a big deal. Alright, let's see. Here are the little stands for the ships. So I got 2 stacks of cards there, and mission cards right here. The large square shape, well, not exactly square, but rectangular, but they are larger than regular cards. And here's another stack of 2 more stacks of decks. So wow, loads and loads of cards at $12.50. I mean, the cards themselves cost that much, and wow. Alright, here are the player cards. There's the different captains of the different player captains that you can play as. Here are pictures of the ships that they pilot on the back. This one is Basilios, and you can tell he's some kind of alien insect looking thing, blue and purple, and his ship looks the same way, so that's pretty cool. So that's the ships, and then here are some enemy ships, enemy bosses. That looks pretty cool. Then there's their abilities on the back, and then let's see. Okay, these are different destinations, or I guess battlefronts in space, and they're two-sided. So yeah, the artwork looks pretty cool, and it's nice and clean, and I like that. Yeah. So that is all in that box. Let's look at the expansion box. So here we have the expansion has some more sector panels, the different locations where you can fight. Let's see, mission cards, station cards, and another rules supplement. So, ooh, if I can get it out. The box, same as the other box, but it is tight fit. It's got that linen vinyl-like finish. Small deck of cards. Okay. One front and back of a rule supplement, and then some cool new looking tokens. Those are cool looking. And they got like these glyphs on them. That's pretty cool looking. And let's see. Looks like two of these. Is that what that is? Let's take a look. Yep. Two more front and back. So that looks pretty cool. And not a lot to it, but as far as I know, this is the only expansion available for the game. $5. I could not pass it up while I was getting everything else. Had to get it. So, looks cool. Let's look at the miniatures. Oh, wow. These look cool. All right. So here's some stands. One is in a bag. I don't understand why they put one in a little Ziploc bag and the rest of them are not. But here are some stands so that and they're semi-transparent. That way they're elevated above the board and look as though they're flying. But wow, look at this. This one jumps out. Now these, you can see me kind of moving this. Okay. This has a harder feel. Some of those little rubber spiders you get around Halloween and stuff that you just lay around to scare people, it feels similar to that. At least the legs do. But the body itself is nice and firm, but it doesn't exactly feel like plastic. It feels more like plastic mixed with rubber. Even its little pincers. I don't know if you can see. Yep, they can move a little bit. I'm not going to push on them too hard, but that looks cool. Put the stand. Yeah, that's wow. And look at this one. Whoa. Try to get it close to the camera and dropped it. That is just really cool. Just one of these miniatures alone would probably cost you $4 if you were buying an individual miniature for a war game or something. And I got all of these for less than that using my Amazon credit that I had. Whoa. This looks like a skeletal dragon. Don't know if I can get the camera to focus on the head well, but you can even see an eye on it on the side. So Not super, super detailed, but I'm still impressed. I mean, you can even see the bend in its legs. It has one straight back and one bent. You can see its hands reaching up, its arms are reaching out to the side, and yeah, wow. I'll go run through these a little bit faster, but there you go. Let's see, I may just use a box lid and see if I can get it to. There we go. So yeah, these look really cool. This one, you can see it has all these different panels and such on the different sides. Really, really cool. I am so glad I decided to go ahead and get this. Here are some thorns. This looks like a, wow, it looks like almost like a tooth wrapped in vines. And then there's a talon. Oh, here's a giant dread ship. Looks like a giant base station war ship. Really, really cool. I am just so pleased with these. Well worth to finish out the collection. See the little detail on that? Oh, I would love to see these painted, but they will not be painted for my first playthrough, but I may have to make myself sit down and paint these. That is really cool too. It's got like a beak almost on it. The nose of it is almost like a beak. So really, really cool. Oh, this is a cool one. Super tiny. Look at all those little engines. And then here is the one that looks like a sightless fish. Wow. Just cool. I cannot get over that. And then here is one that looks like a giant solar parasail. So there's a solar screen probably to catch it and use it as a propulsion. And then, wow. Maybe this is a base station or something. So, all right. So there are the miniatures. I just can't get over how cool they look for that price. Super, super pleased. So I was hoping to have a dark background, like a black, kind of for space. And so I'm going to put this over the worst of the light glare. See what we got for the setup. Everything fits in pretty well. These will just have to be loose for now. I may find some way to sconce them or something with some of the tokens, but for now we'll just leave them like this. And there we go. And maybe just put these tokens here for now. And then I have the rest of the models and such here. I think this is going to be a bit of a table hog, so let's take a look at the setup. So here we have some cards. These are your enemies, like the boss enemies. I have heard this game described as being similar to Sentinels of the Multiverse in space, and in many ways it is. It really is. But here are your main villains, and the book suggests that we play with the Barag Thrillian Syndicate if it's our first game, and that's probably what I will just go ahead and do. And then here we have our heroes, our different ships. So I'll set those off to the side, and we will look at this. It tells us that during setup we put the cryo shade marker on this panel, and the mission Solar Ransom into play in the sector with the most opposition ships. The book does say if at any point there is a tie and you don't know for sure what to do, that the players together, since it is a co-op game, decide and they choose. So we'll get to that later. During the travel phase, play the top card of the mission deck in the sector with the fewest mission cards. Okay. And then this is only if we're playing Elite, which I will not be doing for the first game. Then here is some background of him, and here's the back side of that. So we'll look at that in more detail in the future. And here we have all of the hero cards. So let's take a look at some of those. Now, since this is a cooperative game, it can be played solo. That's what I'm going to do. Here we have the ship, the Therendum, and the Zarlspire. Anyway, these two in the book are listed as higher than the highest complexity in gameplay. And here you have the ship. On the other side you have the same as if in Sentinels you were knocked out. Here you're grounded. Your ship has been grounded. Okay. Since these are the two high complexities, I don't think I want to start with those. So here we have the low and the medium. I'm going to mix these up. Don't know anything about them. I'm going to stop shuffling. I'm going to take the third one. 1, 2, 3. And we'll do that a couple of times. Since I'm playing a 3-player game, I'm just going to, now I'm going to go third from the bottom. 1, 2, 3. And again from the top. 1, 2, 3. Let's take a look at what we got. So the first one we have is the Vigilance, piloted by Favia Vigilance. And here is her photo, and here is the model. Here we are. And this here says secondary engager bonus. When a ship declares it's fighting another ship, we'll get to in the game, you can have one ship attacking and one ship as support. And if she is the support or the secondary engager, then the primary engager will get a bonus attack and shield during that fight. So here's attack and here is defense. Okay, that is the starting. Here we have the Ronak War Beast, piloted by Corrigan, 5 and 1. And here is, hard to see good there, but looks pretty cool. 5 and 1, and the primary engager gains a temporary 2 attack, where here, with the third one, the primary engager gains a temporary 2 defense. So it's pretty strange how that worked out. And here is this model. There we go. So this is the Grey Hammer, piloted by Fargrim Kadlinskin. Alright. The expansion deck came with a small deck of cards here. These are some more cards that you will simply, they're two-sided. So if you're going to sleeve this game, you will need clear sleeves. And I will split these up and shovel them in here, and then shuffle the entire deck some so that they're scattered throughout there. They have this new icon on there with those little triangular punch outs, and then this is a new mission card for each of the bosses, and we just look for the Barag Filian Syndicate. Here we go. I'll put this with that deck, put these back into the box with their corresponding decks. The expansion also came with 2 new areas in space that we'll be fighting in: the Ruins of Volnith and Vognilled Prime. And I will just shuffle those in. And then we will pick 3. I'm trying to not look as I do this and just say 1, 2, and 3. All right. They go in the middle of the table like, there we go. Similar like to this. Okay. This is where the opposition forces will be attacking, and this is where we will have decks where we can choose from. Okay. So as you can see, this is already starting to take up a lot of table space. Here are the mission cards for the bad guys. They say right here, front and back. And I shuffled these. This one here says right on it, starting mission, just like the card did. So these I will put here. Mission cards go face up. This is a deck. Each villain mastermind has its own deck of ship cards. Like it's mercenaries, fleets, henchmen, whatever you want to think of it. I'll put that there. Then I have the player cards here, and each player has its own deck. It has a little schematic of the ship. Then it has a deck, so we shuffle this, and we'll do that for each one of those. And there's the War Beast and the Gray Hammer. So I'll shuffle them off camera. I have seated the cards just randomly in there and then shuffled this big deck a few times. Okay. Now I'll zoom back in and let's take a look. No matter the number of players, you always have 3 sectors in space that are being having conflicts in them. Okay, so I'll give these just another little shuffle, and then what you do and it's a little messy, but you're going to put 5 cards in each of these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 into each of these sections. Okay, and it even says first to last, so if you have to resolve ships attacking, first to last. Okay, so I'll do that off camera. And then the enemy ship deck that I shuffled earlier, you do twice the number of players spread evenly. And that's why this game is probably best at 3 players, because you always have 3 sectors, and then you'll just have 2 starting ships in each one, and you will have at least 1 person that's able to go to each sector if they choose, and if you don't want to just team up. So I'm just going to 3, 4, 5, 6, and put these in these sectors as opposing. This is the strike side, and then once this deck is done, once I have these out, you flip it over and set this down to the side. So the game is pretty much set up, ready to go. We have these icons that look like the rifling of a barrel, if you were to look down a barrel. So that is attack. And this, that is the shape of a shield. So that represents defense. And I have that on all of the opposition ships that are in play. It's hard to see, zoomed out. And all the player ships. Okay? Then the decks, once they're shuffled, you actually play with them this side up, because as you acquire new cards, they'll just go directly under the bottom. It's not so much a deck builder as acquiring upgrades to upgrade your ships. So you're going to be building ships in this game. So draw 4 cards from each deck, and that's it. we're set up, ready to go. So I hope you will join me for the playthrough. We're going to try to do this and try some different camera angles so I can really zoom in and show the game and show the motions of the game. But I wanted to zoom out to show you that it does take a little bit of real estate on the table. Here are the decks. Okay, so that's everything I have for the 3-player game, but you'll need space to the sides and below your player cards. So there you go. There's a look at it. There's a look at the unboxing and the components and the initial setup. So hope you enjoyed it. Thanks for watching, and please come back for the playthrough.